Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right, so final week of individual fights in Summer of Pain, and it's Ghost just as it was leaked. So basically she's stun immune, she has true focus, so it can't evade automatically or phase. And then she has Spite, which can be helpful, can be annoying. And then on top of that, she has Haunted Node, which is the main problem here. Every time she dashes back, you get a passive 3-second falter placed on you. And if you do manage to get around falter, then if you deal any damage to her whilst you're faltered, then you take that damage back instead, which kind of really sucks. Other than that, the fight's actually fairly straightforward and quite easy. That's why I'm not going to get too carried away with showing too many random solos. I will show a couple of solos here at the very start, and the first one is going to be with a rank 4 5-star Stark Enhanced SpiderMan, so people can't tell me that I only use rank 3 6-star champions in these videos and stuff like that. And I actually got this solo with like a very first try, and the key ability here realistically is the Taunt. The Taunt makes AI cooperate with you a lot more, and any champion that has fairly frequent access to Taunt, super useful, but you can actually do it without. You can technically pretty much use any champion in this fight, especially if they do not rely on heavy debuff damage. If they do rely on heavy debuff damage, then it could get a bit more trickier, like with Domino, for instance, when you get your crit fail reflected whilst you are being faltered, you pretty much immediately die, so it's kind of crazy. For this fight, I wish my Domino not to be duped. But in general, it's a straightforward fight. Ideally, you do not want to get too carried away with knocking her down. Manage this fight, bait out special attacks, don't get cornered, and that is as straightforward as it can be. Now, champions with occasional optional power control are also helpful. Obviously, if she manages to get her way up to level 3, then you would be able to kind of like push her down because she's not immune to power modification. However, strictly on the fight purpose itself, overly relying on power control is also not the easiest idea on the player, because whenever she dashes back, you get falter. So ideal rotation here is where she throws a special one after every single one of your combos, because then you don't have to worry about finding an opening in the fight. And therefore, I do not overly recommend bringing in, let's say, Magic or somebody else with like a really crazy potent power control. Instead, you want the fight to be quite fast tempo. Taunt is the perfect weapon of choice here instead of that. And that is the perfect rhythm with Stark Enhanced Spider-Man. Even a 4-star Stark Enhanced Spider-Man is going to be able to do this fight relatively straightforward. Not to mention the fact that I am running Liquid Courage, Double Edge, and Recoil, and Starky isn't really suitable with those. So I'm not throwing my special 2s. And you can see that the fight takes very nice, very straightforward rhythm. I will get tagged somewhere along the way a tiny bit. That's also how you can tell that this was my first try pretty much. Otherwise, I would have wanted to put in like a very clean run, but I just kind of want to demonstrate the point. 5-star rank 4, no boosts, no nothing, just relying on that taunt ability, and Ghost is throwing special attacks very freely, and that's all you need. That's really all you need. So champions like, I don't know, Overseer has access to taunts now. That's super useful. Few other champions do. Now, here I got tagged, but that auto wait kind of saved me in the middle of special attack. So everything else is fine. We're going to recover, and I'm going to quickly fast forward till the end of the video so you guys don't have to sit through too long with this, because obviously since I'm under 50% health, this fight lasts longer. But yeah, very easy, straightforward. Then another solo that I recorded outside of the stream that I did was with Immortal Hulk. Immortal Hulk, once again, is a absolute monster house, and he's also obviously suited for this fight, because if an AI cooperates, it's quite easy to get your rage charges built up. And on top of that, Immortal Hulk doesn't have any buffs of his own really besides the dexterity, and that alone is kind of good quality. So by extension, for instance, Red Hulk would also be a really good option here, because Red Hulk doesn't have any buffs, he doesn't rely on any debuffs. Very straightforward pick, and not much to worry about. Just bait out the special attacks and keep an eye on that falter. So in this kind of case, it's the simpler the champion, the kind of better, to be honest. And yeah, there we go. We're going to go for level 2. And this isn't going to be like a perfectly smooth run, so I'm going to lose my raid charges on several occasions. And at the same time, I will kind of like steadily be chipping her down. I will make a mistake as well somewhere at the point. That was a risky mistake to begin with. But here, just a casual dashback intercept. But with iHulk, ideally, you should remember that you do want to do dashback intercepts only after 3 hits. Because if you're going to do it after 4 hits, then you're going to end up losing your rage charges. Here we can see that slowly but surely that ghost is going down. At this point, I'm going to drop my level 2. That should deal some decent damage. Now, she does throw her level 1, which is perfect for me. So I do get to lose my charges once again. That one was on me. I was a bit too slow here. I should have just finished the combo with medium and went into level 1. But, oh well. Mistakes were made. Errors occurred. So luckily, again, she throws her level 1 here very conveniently for me. This time I dash back, intercept in time, 9 charges, level 2. I do trigger my immortality, which is kind of handy, so I'll be able to slap her even if she blocks and, you know, damage on time. Unfortunately, here, she threw that special a tiny second too late, but at this point, she's already at 38. So this isn't like quite explosive fight because you obviously can't stun loop Ghost because she's stun immune. But at the same time, very steadily, just by the same principle that you don't have buffs, you don't have debuffs. So once again, She-Hulk is perfectly functional with her Fury mechanic. Red Hulk is going to be working great in this fight, or any kind of more basic champions. Yeah, not much to worry about. You actually kind of want to have access to the dexterity buff half of the time, because that makes the fight more smooth if the AI works with you. You just don't want to have like permanent large amount of buffs, and you don't want to never be able to switch off that spite. But here, as we can see, slowly but surely we are carrying. There's a nice chunk of damage there, but again, unfortunately lost my charges again. However, on the upside, I do have my immortality back, so even if something does go wrong, I would be covered, I would be safe. I have 48 gamma charges, and I have immortality off cooldown. And goes to that last 9%. And what? I'm gonna wait for another level 2. I think I am. I think this should probably finish the job. There we go. Done and dusted. Very easy solo of Diabolixide. Right. So on the stream, the very first fight that I tried out was with Hercules. Hercules functioned perfectly fine. I'm not going to show the entire fight again. I don't want to keep you guys too long because this is a fairly straightforward fight. But basically, it just, again, kept an eye on the falter. And yeah, very first time I went in, it was with Hercules. And that was the first solo. So very first attempt at it was a solo. For Mystic Objective, I used the Black Widow Clairvoyant because I am running Recoil, and, well, she handles it better than most Mystics. Dr. Doom is perfectly viable option as well, but it's a lot harder, or at the very least a lot more tedious if you are running Recoil, because then you need to be much more wary of throwing special attacks. And yeah, with Black Widow Clairvoyant, I got my Mystic Objective. And again, if you're not running Liquid Courage Double Edge, then you have significantly more options, like Morningstar, like Dr. Doom, and I'm going to list the best options later on in the last part of this video, where I'm going to go over the best options for camp players, Thronebreaker players, all that other good stuff. So here we go, and I'm gonna again just kind of like quickly tap forward towards the end of the fight. There's no need to watch like 250 hit fight, but yeah, Black Widow Clairvoyant, fairly easy, especially because she does have access also to optional power control on her level 2s. And that's pretty much all that's needed. If I wanted to go for more damage, I went into the Incinerate Curse. If I was willing or wanting to power control a bit and push her more aggressively in the corner, then I went for the power control Poison Curse. And if I wanted to heal up a bit, I went for the Heal Curse. And here we can see the fight is about to be finished, last 8% or so. So I think I'm going to go in. What am I going to do? Bait out a heavy attack? Yeah, sure, why not? Fairly straightforward option. So she's going to throw her level 2. So another full combo. And another combo from me. And that is going to be pretty much all she wrote. There we go. The fight finished with Black Widow Clairvoyant. Now we can move on to the metal villain objective, I used Punisher 2099, and that was also fairly straightforward. One of the first kind of like serious attempts. I think I messed it up on the first attempt and got it down with second attempt. Punisher 2099, again, the thing that you're gonna notice, a champion with no inherent buff, no reliance on damage or time effects, and yeah, perfectly fair, perfectly straightforward. I did take a bit more damage than I should have, probably spammed some more special attacks, but yeah, took a while. 228 hits with a rank 3 6-star Punisher. Here you can see the end of it in a second. I think I'm just going to finish it off with level 2 most likely. Probably, yeah. And there we go. And then the last one that I did for Mercenaries was with Luke Cage. Luke Cage is also fairly lengthy. It's not the quickest fight. But Luke Cage is very, very safe option because you do have that indestructibility if your Luke Cage is awakened. So with Luke Cage in these conditions, you can kind of afford yourself some mistakes, or even if you do not bait out the special attacks quicker, then you can eat a level 3 and stuff like that. Now, it is annoying when she's shrugging off your debuffs because that limits your damage output. But at the same time, occasionally those debuffs can mitigate the effects of Spite, and that is also helpful. Not going to be the quickest fighter. This is a 6-star rank 2 Luke Cage. So this is not a rank 3, so it's 6-star rank 2 Luke Cage. Almost equivalent of 5-star rank 5 champion. And yeah, that was also a fairly straightforward fight. Now, I did mess up it a couple of times before that. Was one very close finish where I think I died when she was on like 10%. But still. There we go. We're about to 324 hits. Not too bad. Not too bad. But yeah, it's because she keeps on shrugging all debuffs with that Haunted Node. We can see that she converted three of the fatigues, exhaustions, into 3 furies, which is quite annoying. So I do make a mistake there, but again, that invincibility saves me, indestructibility saves me, and there we go. The fight's over, Luke Cage wins. So let's go here. So what are the best options for Cap players? Without holding you guys any longer, I brought Hercules because that was the first thing that I tried. Hulk worked phenomenally. You can count in Red Hulk, and as I listed, She-Hulk further on. Ebony Maw apparently is an absolute cheese going for this one because obviously Ghost has the guaranteed crit, so Ebony Maw should be a phenomenal option if you do have like a 6-star rank 1 or higher ranked Maw. That would be quite good. Stark Enhanced SpiderMan, I demonstrated 5-star rank 4. Perfectly capable. I'm sure you can do it with a 4-star if you must, and it's also a very old and very popular option, so I think that is going to be no problem. Spider-Ham, also very straightforward, easy champion to this fight with, but in general you can use any champion that doesn't have like permanent buffs or many damage or time effects, and you should be quite fine. There's literally many more great options, so don't get upset if I don't list them all. And when it comes to when it comes to Thronebreaker objectives, so with Mystics, let's go through Mystics. Let's start with Doom, who is a fantastic option and covers 2 of the objectives at the same time because he's Mystic and a Metal Villain, so he's by far one of the better champions to have a go with. Lakido Clairvoyant, who I used, and Dragonman did phenomenal. Ebony Maw, I suspect that Hood and Sorcerer Supreme, both of them should be doing greatly as well. And Morningstar, who also covers 2 objectives. So Morningstar is also very good option for these fights. Because, yeah, when you knock her down, she gains buffs, and that can feed Morningstars like Mystic Dispersion and a whole bunch of other things. So it's kind of cool there. To go with Metal Villains, we have Doom, Ghost, should be working perfectly fine as well. Don't see a significant reason why not, especially because you can get rid of your cruelties with level 3, convert them into passives, or just not trigger them. Depends how you want to play. Ghost should be perfectly fine. Morningstar listed above. Mysterio, Punisher 2099 is what I use. We have Sentinel, Strife, Yellow Jacket. Apocalypse, I probably forgot to list Apocalypse. Apocalypse should be quite an effective option as well. Then we have Mercenaries. Luke Cage, Hitmonkey was the champion every single person asked me to try, but unfortunately I don't have a rank up Hitmonkey. And Domino, but the thing with Domino, it's kind of tricky. If you have unduped Domino, perfect. She will destroy that fight. If Domino is duped, she can reflect back with her Haunted mechanic and falter her crit failures. and that immediately takes a huge chunk out of your health. Tried several times with Domino, I didn't get the solo in. I did get hit down to like 4% and 10% and stuff like that, but I always ended up dying to my own crit spell. I'm sure, would I try a few more times, I would be able to do it. Unduped Domino, perfect. Duped Domino is a bit dodgy. Taskmaster is also a good option and covers 2 of the objectives, because with Taskmaster you get to be mercenary and metal villain. Why he's good? Because again, he doesn't really rely on damage or time effects, and he doesn't have any buffs of his own. Obviously the fight would take a while though. And you can use other non-damage over time heavy champions, such as, where are the other mercenaries? I nearly got her down with Venom Pool. I think I left her on like 4%. Sorry, not Venom Pool, with Gold Pool. Got her down to like 4%, so I'm sure that would work. I heard people had moderate success with Black Widow Daily Origins. I heard somebody soloed it with a rank 5 5-star Sabretooth. Heard somebody did it with rank 5 5-star Winter Soldier. Karnak even is perfectly acceptable option, because he doesn't have permanent buff or damage or time effects he relies on. There are plenty of options, it's just they are going to be quite lengthy fights. In general, I do think this was a fairly easy week. And yeah, I do hope you guys found this video helpful. This is the last video for the weekly Summer Pain. And let's see what happens next week. Week 10. See you guys. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about